Hi, welcome to Toast Time. I'm Cassandra, and this week I'm making appam from Sri Lanka, and it's going to be a sweetbread. There is no actual flour. You can use rice flour in place of the rice, but I'm going to do it from scratch. This way I can see what the texture is supposed to be, and I think it's going to be fun. Last night I set the rice. It was 2 cups of dry rice and it had to soak overnight in water. This is how much I got. So make sure you do the 2 cups of dry rice, and then when you soak it, you'll have the correct amount. There's water here to go in with this. There's other water for the yeast and sugar. And there's salt and coconut milk. This one is really cool because it looks puffy in the middle, but the outside is crispy. I tried to find the special pan for it. Didn't really have luck, but I'm gonna try something. Hopefully it works. If not, then I'm gonna have to shift. But that's okay. All right. First thing that I need to do is get the blender. Right now I'm putting the rice into the blender. I don't know if you're able to hear it hitting. So it's not completely soft and you wouldn't be eating this rice, but it's going to give us the nice texture, kind of crispy that we want. Eventually we're going to make the batter smooth, but that's not what we're going for right now. All right. I didn't put the water in the blender yet because I wanted to see if I needed it to help me get out all of the rice. I'm going to pour it in and give it a swirl. And I think that will aid me in getting all of this out. There it goes. All right, lid on. That was maybe 10 seconds on the blender. It was really fast. And see, it's incorporated now. But you can still see the texture. See if I can get any on the side of that rice that's in there. All right, I'm going to take a cup of this and put it in a small pan. The batter that I put into the pan got a little bit more water with it. And this is really cool because I'm heating it up and it's turning into, they call it a porridge kind of texture. What this is going to do is help thicken up the batter, but it's a lot like a slurry. If you've done cornstarch and water kind of thing, that's kind of what's happening here. And it's really cool. It happened really fast also. Oh, make sure you stir this. I kind of left it for a second because I was having a conversation. And make sure you keep stirring it. Otherwise, that bottom is going to get very stuck and could burn. Luckily, I didn't reach that point, but it could have happened extremely easily. I'm going to take my sugar and yeast in this bowl here and let that kind of do its little foaming stuff. And this is going to be ready. This doesn't have to cool before it goes back into the blender, as long as your blender is going to be heat proof. This isn't boiling or anything, but it's going to be very hot. I'm finishing putting the kanji, the porridge textured rice mixture, into the blender with the other amount of rice that we still had in there. All right. This is starting to foam up, which is great. First, I'm going to blend this together. Update. I did want to also clarify that the coconut milk, when I say that, I don't mean the kind that you would drink. I mean the kind in the can, the thick coconut milk, not kind of the almond milk, soy milk, coconut milk type of milk. As I was blending this, I realized I needed some more liquid. So I am putting this in right now. and it's gonna come together hopefully soon. It's very thick, very, very thick. I'm gonna add in the yeast with the water now because that will help all of that water. I think I have success. Yay! This is how it looks now. It's supposed to be very thin and everything's incorporated. I'm going to put it in here. And then I will put shower cap on top of it and then let it ferment. From the overnight resting, the rice already smells nice. Not fermented yet, but it has a nice smell to it. And yeah, you can smell the coconut and everything. This smells great. I'm gonna give it a little stir. Make sure all mixed in. No lumps of rice or the coconut solids that were in there. Yeah, everything's nice and smooth. Okay, well then, now we rest. All right, I have knocked this down twice during this process and it still just keeps growing and growing. It looks really cool, very light and fluffy, and it smells great. It smells slightly fermented, which is what we want, and I can smell the coconut milk. I'm really excited for this one. All right, now I don't have the proper pan for this. There are two different types of pans. Basically, the idea is kind of a very tiny wok. So then you cook it in the middle, bottom middle, and you swirl it around the edges to get the browning along the really thin, crispy sides. That being said, for my purposes, I am going to be using a double boiler kind of method, like a bain-marie. I have a very small crock pot and a bowl that is going to metal bowl. So I'm going to be very careful conducting that heat that I'm going to put over it. And I found one of my pot lids that just happens to fit perfectly on that bowl. Oh, we'll give this a try. I very lightly sprayed the inside of the metal bowl because I don't know what to expect and I don't want it just scorching right away. This is coming up to a boil-ish, like a simmer, so that I can get that steam to heat the bowl. When that comes to the steaming point, then I will come back and we'll start cooking. I have my little pot holder here and my marshmallow looking mixture batter. This is up to steam and I'm going to give it a go. Pouring it in the middle. And then doing this, okay, I'm thinking that the greasing it was not a good idea. I'm going to put it in, or on, I should say, there, and cover it with the lid. And it's supposed to cook for about 1 minute, but that's over direct heat. I don't know. We're experimenting, learning. We're not failing too much. It does smell nice. Okay, I'm not really sure what I'm looking at here. So it is cooking like that. It's very soft and doughy squishy, which I know the middle is supposed to be. I think I'm gonna wipe off. What? I have no idea. I'm gonna wipe off the cooking oil from here because the edges weren't, it sounds like a bad thing, the edges weren't sticking around the bowl. And because of that, there are just little kind of wings of thinness. Middle, it seems like it's cooked. Try. I know I'm supposed to describe it. I can't find the words to describe it though. I don't know what I'm eating. I gotta come back to you. Right now I have round two, or attempt two, that I'm gonna take out. It's not quite working with the steaming method. I'm gonna turn off the heat and I'll show you. Ow, steamy. This is where we stand. I tried very hard to think of how to describe what was happening. I still am really not sure how to, because I think I need to get it right before I can try to describe it. Because the first one was undercooked, it wasn't cooked all the way through. This one is more cooked, but it's not browning, and I think that's going to really change the flavor profile of it when you get that browning on it. Let's see. This one's holding together, which I think is a good sign. From that, it's very light and airy. It's not as sweet as I thought it would be. We didn't put much sugar in, but there is some, and the coconut. But this isn't really used as a dessert. It's used more in a savory fashion with curries and things like that inside of it. This has a larger circle on the bottom and it's more of a steep side. But you know what? That's just going to make our appam bowls more bowl-like. And that's okay. I'm going to get that prepped and then we'll give this another try. I have it on a medium heat. I dumped out the water and pretty much right away the residual heat kind of dried it up. I didn't have to dry it out or anything like that. The last of the water is boiling away right now, sizzling away. It's really not much in there. And I think that'll do it. All right, attempt 3. All right, good. Is it very hot? I'm gonna grab one of these and one of these and do a little swirly swirl. I was going over my materials in my head, and I remember seeing that it's supposed to be like a crepe batter, which is going to be much thinner than this consistency. What I'm doing, instead of potentially ruining the whole batch, I'm going to put some of it in a bowl here and thin it with water to see if maybe that makes a bit of a better product. Let's see. But first, I'm going to have to clean out this pan. Oh boy. We have pivoted yet again. This is the consistency, added a little bit of water to it, and it's more free flowing. It's more runny now, but still has the bubbles. So when I added the water, I didn't mix it roughly. I kind of more folded in the water, and that way you didn't lose all the bubbles that were formed while it was fermenting. I have a cast iron pan here going, lightly oiled, and it's on medium low. Take this. Now this has an even larger bottom area, the circle. I'm going to use more batter and try and quickly spread it around. Here it goes right in the middle. Ooh, got a sizzle. And up the sides. Ooh, I think I need more. I'm going to again put it in the middle though and get that around. All right. There's some big holes that have formed in that middle area. I'll show you quickly there. And add a tiny bit more in that spot. And fill it in. Okay. Put it here. We're going to heat down just a smidge. Put that lid on. Well, I think the Appam and I have now come to an understanding. We're having a nice time of it now. And I wanted to show you this and this. And the texture is really nice. All of these parts here have puffy areas, and this is thin and crispy. I'm oiling just a tiny bit in between each one. And because of the size of this pan, I have to use more of the batter for each one. But that's okay because I'm not trying to serve this to a whole bunch of people. I'm learning and having fun with it. This is where I started. And this is the last one I just took off. We're getting there. And in about 2 minutes, I'll scrape around the edges and slowly and underneath. And as you go underneath, it's going to start popping some of those other sides off of there. So if you can't get around the outside completely, it's okay. Start going underneath the bottom part of it, and it's going to loosen up, especially as it cooks more. Have nice crispy, even broke, sides, but the middle is still pillowy and soft. I'm going to give this a try because I'm just very curious. That play of textures is really fun. That really crispy, thin part. And then you have that pillowy, I don't know how else to explain it. It's just so soft and mushy. It's like marshmallow almost. Yeah, I like the flavor. Now that I'm able to not focus so much on it being undercooked and everything, the flavor is subtle. It's kind of like if you were to have a meal that had coconut rice on the side. Obviously, this is coconut milk and rice, so that's where I'm getting that flavor profile. But it really is. It's mellow, but a little bit sweet, and it's great.